Well, thanks very much, Chris. Thank you very much to the Dialogue team for the invitation to be here. I'm very pleased to be here. It's, in spite of everything, we've had a great year, actually, and it's even better to be able to be here in person to speak with you, to so many of you who've been on the journey with us. Just for those of you who don't know us, it's 2.5 years since we became a statutory authority, but we're part of the Transport Cluster, and we sit within the Greater Sydney Division, and that's really important to us because we're very much about the customer. And customers don't think about modes particularly, they think about transport in general, so we come up with the best solutions together. But we are a bit of a unique bit of Greater Sydney Division in that we've got our own board and we get direction from the Minister and from the Secretary. The reason that we're different is really twofold. First of all, we're not about just building a railway. We're about the places, we're about the precincts and all that goes on around our stations, and we've now got the powers to be able to deliver on that. And the second thing is that our job doesn't stop at constructing the railway. We're there to operate it, and we're there for the long term. So that's what we're about. And what we're all about really is, together with all of my colleagues across transport, is to transform Sydney for the people. And our newer projects in Western Sydney are going to be fantastic for the people of Western Sydney. Our fully automated metro network is going to be the real step change in rail infrastructure to really give life to that vision of 3 connected cities, to get that fast turn up and go service that everyone expects. And on the Metro Northwest, we've had 25 million journeys so far since we started in May last year. Our official customer satisfaction is 96%, but I can tell you that the interim figure from last Thursday was 99%. People love it. And from the northwest, we're extending underneath the harbour right now to head down towards Sydenham and then on to the southwest, on the Sydney and South West line, and that'll be opening in 2024. Sydney Metro West we've heard a little bit about already today, but that's there to connect Parramatta and the Sydney CBD, and it'll double the rail capacity between those locations. But it'll give communities who've never had rail connection to rail. It'll unlock housing and employment supply. So the good news is that it's actually all go on West. We started construction on the 18th of November. We expect to get the first tunnelling package away in Q2 next year, and we'll get the first tunnel boring machine in the ground before the end of 2022. And then there's our Sydney Metro Western Sydney Airport, which is there to serve all of Greater Western Sydney and the new Western Sydney International Nancy Bird Walton Airport. It's absolutely integral to the development of the Western Parkland City. It's going to be the transport spine for the whole of that region. And across all of our projects, we're engaging across the world with the best operators, contractors and transport agencies to really understand what the best way of delivering that is, and as well as learning from our own experience so far on Metro Northwest. So let me talk a little bit about Metro West. You'll know that we've confirmed stations at Westmead, Parramatta, Sydney Olympic Park, North Strathfield, Burwood North, 5 Dock, the Bays and the Sydney CBD station, which we're just still working on the detail of that. There's also an optional station at Pyrmont, which we're working with government on right now. But here's the timeline of what's going to happen. We've already started work at the Bays. We're moving some roads at the moment, ready to get the tunnel boring machine in place. Our environmental impact statement has been out there. We're looking to get determination on that Q1 next year, and then we'll get the first tunnelling contract awarded in the middle of next year. Second one by the end of next year, and that'll mean that we get the tunnel boring machines in the ground, as I say, by the end of 2022. So what can you expect when you get Metro West? Well, it'll do all the things that Metro Northwest has done. It'll make that connection easier for work, for education, for training, for leisure. It's all the things that we've seen so far in technology improvements, from the starting your planning when you're at home, to using an app, to real-time information at stations and on trains. Fully accessible for everyone, whether it's reduced mobility or it's people with prams or children. It means level access between platforms, trains and lifts at all stations. And for people who are have got issues, who need to have a little bit of help, they really love the fact that they can manage all that themselves. They don't need to ask for help. Dignity is the key word I keep on hearing from customers. Platform screen doors that keep people and objects away from the edge of platforms. That makes it much safer for customers. It allows trains to get in and out of stations much faster. The video help points at platforms. If you press the button, you're talking direct to a train controller. That is an Australian first. Improved interchanges with buses, light rail, suburban rail, pedestrians, cycling networks, and of course the integrated Opal network that has fares set and controlled by the New South Wales Government. If you haven't had an opportunity to travel on Metro before, on Metro North West, I really encourage you to do it, especially Chris Brown, who hasn't yet. There are quite a lot to do on integrated station and precinct developments. I won't list them all, but we are looking at what the appropriate means is for each station. This one's an artist's impression of the Bays. It's probably the biggest location near Sydney that's got some massive development opportunities, and we will be at the centre of that. It is a great opportunity. But there are places which don't lend themselves quite as much to those big high-rise developments. This is Five Dock. It's got much more of a suburban feel. It's strip shopping. It's very much chalk and cheese with some of the other locations that we've got. So here we're going to produce something that's far more in keeping with the local community. And that's absolutely right. It's not one solution everywhere. But there are places like Sydney Olympic Park where at the moment you've got pretty much a branch line from Sydney Trains, but yet it's a massive entertainment, sporting, events location. It's also going to be, once you put Metro West in, when you've got trains every 4 minutes in each direction, a great location for people to live. You can see Sydney Olympic Park transforming itself through Metro. And then we've got Western Sydney Airport. We're delivering 23 kilometres of rail between St Mary's Station and the future Western Sydney Aerotropolis in Bringelly. It's absolutely integral to this idea of the Western Parkland City. How often do we really get the chance to develop a new city? So there's 6 stations proposed along that alignment, 2 at the airport, 1 at Western Sydney Aerotropolis, 1 at St Mary's, where people can interchange to Sydney Trains' existing T1 line, at Orchard Hills, where we get a mixed-use precinct, and at Luddenham, where we've got an education and innovation precinct. So here's what's going to happen. We've already had the announcement from the federal and state governments confirming the station locations and starting the tender process. Environmental impact statement's been out there. We'll hope to get determination on that in the middle of next year. That will allow us by the end of the year to get the station boxes and tunnelling contract out there, and then we'll have the big contract, which is the stations, systems, trains, operations and maintenance contract sorted towards the end of 2022. This is all to get this delivered in line when the airport opens for passenger operations. But let's have a look at St Mary's. This is going to be a gateway to this new city. We need to think about this as a new strategic centre. It's a massive opportunity for us. Why is that important? Well, there are plenty of challenges out there at the moment. At the moment, 74% of residents travel to work in a car. More than 320,000 residents who are out in that direction travel outside that region for work or study every day. So can we give them work opportunities closer to home? A third of residents are spending an average of 90 minutes commuting to work. And then, of course, when the airport opens, we're anticipating 10 million international travellers in the early 2030s. So for all of those people, this represents a real step change. Here's an artist's impression of what we're going to do at Orchard Hills. And this is not so much about the station or the metro. This is about being something for the community. It's about being a focal point for the places that we serve. New places for people to live, shop, work, play. Public spaces to encourage walking, cycling and social interaction. Overall, we're trying to do a little bit better than we did on North West. So we're learning the lessons as we go. Here we're going to think more about urban cooling through integration of more tree canopy, landscaping and shade for the benefits of customers. And we're going to try and look at real specific design responses to heat waves so we can minimise that urban heat island effect and contribute to Western Parkland City's blue and green grids. And it's more than that. Again, learning from what we've done before, we're working with industry to build capacity, skills and diversity. So here for this airport line, we've got an overarching workforce development and industry participation plan and an Aboriginal participation plan, just to outline our targets and objectives, and they're going to be finalised in line with the procurement activities. This is not about aspirations. We are setting minimum requirements in our contracts for the engagement of a local workforce, pre-employment programmes for local job seekers, engagement of minimum numbers of Australian and New Zealand small to medium-sized enterprises and Aboriginal businesses. And our bidders are going to have to show us how they're going to respond to that and for the future. We've got a continuous focus on targeted skills development to make sure that the workforce does develop, and we're going to work with industry to make sure that happens. It's absolutely crucial for this project to be a success. It's far more than just building a railway. Now at this point, Chris usually says to me, that's all fine, John, but what are you going to do next? So we have a vision of 3 cities in the Greater Sydney Regional Plan, and our Future Transport 2056 absolutely talks to that. It talks about a high-frequency, high-capacity mass transit solution. And as we heard earlier, we don't have equitable solutions across those 3 cities right now. But Sydney Metro can provide that step change in rail infrastructure to help reshape that. If we can deliver safe turn-up-and-go services, high frequency, and make vibrant, attractive precincts, we'll be doing our part. So at the moment, we're looking at various different solutions. So Greater Parramatta out to the Aerotropolis, Bankstown to Liverpool, St Mary's to Tallawong, the Aerotropolis down to Macarthur. And there's a lot of interest in going out to the southeast as well. But 2056 strategy is a 40-year roadmap. It talks about our strategic direction, it talks about how we're going to do this. And over time, we'll end up with a network of about, 210 kilometres. So we're going to work with the cluster, we're going to work with our partners to actually give life to this, and in particular in the southeast, because the South East Sydney Transport Strategy, which was released in August 2020, talked about a future metro line from Sydney CBD down to Randwick and on to La Perouse, and that expands that 30-minute city. It's more people and jobs getting connections. It gets you some fast and reliable transit between the Harbour CBD and the South East, and it fits alongside plenty of other transport improvements in that area as well. And then there's also plenty of interest in city shaping opportunities in looking at how we can do something from Camperdown to Ultimo in that sort of innovation corridor. Now we're really excited about the contribution we can make, not only here in the South East but also in Western Sydney, and really make a change to the whole of Sydney. And as I said to the start, transform Sydney for the people. So what I'll ask for now is I'll just give you a bit of a clips of a video clip for Metro West, which we're now in delivery on. Thank you.